Patrick, welcome back. It's been a while because you went to Boston
I went to Worcester.
for a rehab.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay. I went to Teen Challenge. Here we go. I got to get into the.
Well, you've been to Teen Challenge before.
We go from talking to here we are. Yeah, I've been to Teen Challenge. I spent years in that program. And went back. We talked about it in March. I was contacted by a good friend that was there and made the decision to go back. So I was in Teen Challenge in Worcester through July, from April through July, and wound up leaving after 3 months in the program. I was supposed to be there for 6 months, and I think I don't want to get too much into like what happened, but let's just say we had a difference of opinion on how to help people with addiction problems. That being said, I love them. You know, the people have good intentions. So I left middle of July. I wound up leaving sort of spur of the moment. You know, I had made the decision or was coming to a decision that I wasn't going to stay for the entire 6 months. Just because I honestly was starting to feel like it would probably be better for me not to be there. The day I left, that wasn't the plan. You know, there was like a disagreement that I had that was rather extreme. And so we left. How to say this? You know, what was frustrating to me after was because I had no intention of getting high, no desire. It's very sheltered that in there. And I'm comfortable with all that. It would be true to like I'm institutionalized. You know, I did a count while I was in there. That was my 21st rehab. I counted them, wrote them down. So for me to be in that environment, which is very sheltered, restricted, no access to the outside world, no phone, no internet, no TV, and I can roll with that. You know, like part of that was comforting, you know. And if I was willing to stay in that sort of a position forever, I probably would stay clean forever, you know. But I'm not. I'm not willing to do that.
That's interesting.
Right? You know, to like, if you want to lock me in a closet here, and I'm willing, and just feed me, and I probably won't get high. I'll be locked in a closet. But you know, it's like I'd rather go down chasing freedom, or you know what I mean, like believing that freedom and complete freedom is possible than stay clean because I'm restricted in that way.
Right.
So it was a little bit of all that. But literally from the first night of being out of there, the desire to get high, which was just like, what the heck is this? You know, and I don't know what. I don't know if it was. I don't know if I believe in. I strongly more and more believe in the like what happens in my life or in our lives is like a result of what we think. You know, and I've been sort of analyzing and questioning. And I believe that some sort of a change in my thinking is what needs to happen if I'm going to overcome this permanently. And if there was something about, hey, if you leave this place, you're done, you're screwed, you're going to die, kind of. If there was like something about that, like in me, you know, because I felt it. It was like I described it like I was wearing a heavy blanket that night, you know, and I was safe, you know. I was with a friend who loves me, you know. I have friends in that area. People came to my. I mean, it was a little bit humiliating, you know. I wound up for a moment across the street from Teen Challenge, like with my suitcase or with no money, penniless, with a phone that hadn't been turned on in 3 months that needed to be charged. That for whatever reason I wasn't able to charge there. I had to like leave the property to do that. Plugged into like the outlet of a Chinese fast food, you know. But 10 minutes after that, you know, I was with people who loved me, you know, and I was hitting golf balls at a driving range. It just so happens. But I had that, and long story short, I was getting high a week later. I lasted a week, and got high for, I don't even remember how long, a week, maybe, something like that. It was, it was different. It was like the same but different. Typically, I'm coming off of however many months of being self-supportive, working, having money and a place to go, and, vehicles and stuff. This time I was like on foot from the beginning with barely any money.
Yeah. Do you still have a job here in LA?
Yeah, I do. Wow. So the job is a leave of absence situation.
You have a great employer.
Through October, yeah. So that's there. I was walking around on foot getting high in Massachusetts, like sort of begging people for money. It's just humiliating, right? And causing everyone to worry. Like my family here is, especially like my parents, but especially
sure.
my mom, for example, just, my close friends, just, man, this guy.
The crap that you put your family through.
That's what I'm realizing that's what
And then the shame that comes from that.
Yeah.
That's that's how it just.
I was telling my brother, I still want to get high. Like, I love the feeling of that. That's not the thing that I hate. What I hate is the letting people down, the irresponsibility. The one thing was a harsh reminder of I like just how you experienced that whole January, February. So that was the most extreme, but that's how it seems like it works. It gets more and more extreme. But putting myself into a position of having to be completely dependent on other people, or having nothing, right? I hate all that.
You and I have had a lot of conversations privately, and we've talked about how religion might maybe be the answer.
Yeah.
And you're much more religious than I am.
Yeah.
But I joke with myself that I'm not a believer, but
No.
But I think a lot of the way I would act would probably be very much in line with how a very religious person would function. I try to be, and maybe is religion the answer? Is it just you have a self-destructive streak that's genetic or something, or what do you think the core of it all is?
Well, there's a lot of that. There's a lot in those questions. I don't know. I believe God is the answer, but I also think it's worth defining what we mean by the answer. And I've been thinking about all these things and trying to like set aside what I've always believed, because like that's gotten me here. Or so what are we striving for? Like the answer has always been permanent sobriety, right? Which probably still is the answer. Like that would be, but I don't know if that's realistic. Like I think part of the chaos and the like complete lack of control that I experience is because I'm always like in some way like assuming that's where we're on. We're on this path of permanent sobriety, and like there's like I'm not going back to that, and then now I find myself back in that, which was a little bit predictable, and I'm completely unprepared, out of control. It's a spur of the moment decision, and I'm gone. Religion. When you describe yourself as acting like someone that's a religious person, I wonder if you mean the way you love people, or if you mean the way you are self-disciplined.
I mean,
and like sort of obedient to like the norms of
coming from
adulthood.
From my dad, my dad's basically atheist, and I think I get that from him.
Yeah.
But I think the wisest saying ever in the history of mankind is, "What would Jesus do?"
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that.
Right.
Gets you out. It's the answer to every question you ever have.
Right. And what Jesus would always do would be to show love.
Right, exactly.
And self-sacrifice.
Forgive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Accept.
All that. Yeah. That's a forgive. That's a good one. I'm holding resentments towards certain things, like Teen Challenge, for example, or the way that all went down. And that could have been part of what brought in that immediate, like, I'm going to get high right now, desire. I I read a bunch of books. I had a good experience. I don't want it to sound like it was a bad experience. Like for me, especially the first 6 weeks that I was there, I had very little to do. So I read a bunch of books and spent a lot of time praying. And however, whatever people believe about prayer and about God, it was powerful for me, you know. And it's interesting to me that now that I'm sort of back in the real world, so to speak, I pray way less quantity and quality. Something about, you know, I was going every night for like an hour or 2 hours, you know, because it's like there's nothing to do, you know, and going and being like in a little room by myself and at some point, if you pray, like my experience, if I pray, like if I just keep praying, like just stay at it, like, I'm not talking about every day, but like, no, it's been 10 minutes, I'm not gonna stop. Like, let's just at some point, it's like a breakthrough. And all of a sudden I feel, I don't know how to describe it, but it's awesome, right? And it feels like love, and I tend to cry. But the other part of it is it feels like things are possible, you know, like overcoming the addiction, having an amazing life, you know, living in like with like healthy, loving relationships with everybody, you know, like all these things, and seeing others overcome, and that's always, you know, because I went to that program this is probably the 6th time I went and started it, and the last time before this time was several years back, and I made a conscious decision at that point to not do that one anymore because it wasn't working. Like, it never like permanently worked for me, even though I love it and I love the people and the friends that I made through that. But always, like, especially in the beginning, because there's a lot of work to do there. You know, there's a lot that they need to do to keep the program going, which I'm familiar with all that, you know. And it takes money to have these programs with all these people, you know, and so it's like a lot of full-time work is what it is. But in the beginning, for me, I don't have to do that. And I read a line in one of the books that it said something about, and I related to it, and I thought of you and this whole thing, this channel and the comments and stuff. It said, I'm talking about mankind, I think, but why is he so wonderful yet so flawed? You know, that double nature of us, you know. And I think that when I come in here high on crack and tell you, like we were talking before about how the way of just telling everybody the truth and what it is a little bit of a different thing. Like now I don't know if we even mentioned I'm sober at this moment.
Yeah, that's got to be much harder to be so honest.
It's different, yeah.
I mean, one of the things
it takes effort. It doesn't really take as much effort in that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're very free to talk about everything and anything.
Yeah, you know.
But I'm a strong believer in that this total honesty might be a great way to break down some of the things that are blocking us. Yeah. But you're the best example of someone who's been totally raw and honest. Yeah. And here you are relapsing.
We believe that there's something in it, though. Like my friend Felix is the one that I love Felix, and he's my brother, and
who you were in Boston with?
He was at the program. Yeah, we actually left together on the same day, and we were talking about all this a lot. He's, you know, we have a similar background and a similar time, like, experience, very, very extremely, eerily similar, and we think about this stuff, you know, and we do believe that there's something in this, like it's all for something. We don't know. I don't know what it's going to turn out to be, but the total transparency and that there's freedom in that a lot of us, like probably a lot of us as humans, go through life, you know, hiding, and I always did, and
for sure,
my natural instinct still is to do that. And if people relate, it's probably like I feel like I'm just an extreme example of something that's common to a lot of people.
I think so, yeah.
And so, like, maybe me coming in here and talking about all this crazy stuff, people can relate because, you know, like, and they even can admire it. Like, oh man, I wish I had the courage to be that honest about whatever their thing is. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure that's going on.
Yeah. And so
with your videos
if this could be helpful, it'd be great if it was helpful for me. And overall, I think it has been. I feel like an obligation. I feel like a calling or something to do it. You know, I'm gonna say one because I want to talk about like the thought processes and stuff. And,
sure.
and I was thinking about it and praying about it. And I wrote a bunch of stuff about all this because of what I've always done. And I described this on the other videos, going out of my way in certain environments to make sure nobody ever find out, to really pretend, So I'd have these horrible episodes and all what I've been talking about in here for 20 years, just being like this crack user in these behaviors, and then I could clean up and go and live life clean for a while, and maybe get a job like this job or go to school or whatever. And I would go out of my way to pretend that clean, physically sober version of me is how I always was, And so like I would I'd perfect the art of lying without technically lying, like lying without saying an untrue statement. And what I realized, what kind of came to me as a thought along these lines was I was trying to take credit myself for what God did for me, right? Trying to take credit for it myself, like I'm good. And there's one Bible verse I'm going to share, if that's okay.
Of course.
And it's a popular one because it's one that talks about Paul having a thorn in his flesh, and the part people always quote is he asked Jesus to take the thorn out of his flesh, and Jesus didn't do it. He says, I asked 3 times, and the quote is, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That's the part people always quote. But there's another sentence in that verse that comes after it. It says, therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, because then the power of Christ can rest on me. And I was drawn to that part of it. I will boast about my weaknesses. And I thought about coming in here, right? And I don't know if boast is the right word, but I don't know if that's
same thing.
But talk about my weaknesses, because I was making sure God got no credit for anything good that ever happened to me before, literally, as a Christian, right?
Right. That's what I would do.
And so maybe that's why. Maybe there's something in that. I believe that, right? If this really is like a thing that requires something from God, some power from God. Whatever that looks like to overcome, then I want that power, and and sort of telling it how it is, which is not very successful, if you depending on how you judge it. So from that angle, I want to keep doing this. I want. And I sort of made a commitment to myself to just keep telling the truth no matter what it is. And when I was in there, I was daydreaming about grandiosity. Really is what it. I remember when I did when I did an inventory one time in AA, 4-step inventory. My sponsor pointed out that there was a grandiosity. I have ego and pride and sometimes I'm not sure if it's like a vision from the Lord or it's just my ego that wants to daydream about being super successful and all this. And, so I was daydreaming about coming in here and telling the truth and it being some awesome thing. Here we go. But really what it was I got out of there and got high right away. And so when I went over there in April. I had a few days, I left a few days open before I entered the program. I got high during those days, right? So I got high right before, and I got high right after, and I've been sober this month. I've been staying with my mother. I've been taken care of basically by my mother, who I freaking love, right? Who's, she'll do anything for me. I don't know if that's. The healthiest thing or not, but at this point I don't really care. I feel like myself. I feel like a human. I feel like a living person again, and that's.
Are you happier right now, clean, than you were when you're in the middle of a weekend
middle of a binge?
Middle of a binge.
Heck yeah! Oh yeah, totally. But I know that I still love it. Mm-hmm. And my mind's dancing with it. now I'm not gonna do it today, you know. I have a golf tournament tomorrow that's important to me, and some things like that. But one thing that's different this like right now than in the past when I've been clean is that my mind is thinking about doing it at some point in the future, right?
Is it something to do with humility? Because you talked about how when you start thinking of yourself in a very good light, that's when you're more prone to relapsing. And when you see yourself as very vulnerable and very able to do this again, maybe you're less likely to do it.
There's maybe we wonder about that. I was talking to my brother about that on the way over. Maybe being more realistic about it is, you know, I've been doing something that they always talk about it in like the 12-step meetings, and so I know about the concept, but I've never really practiced it or I had a mindset of it like I feel like I do now, which is just today, like one day at a time concept. Yeah. Like my plan is to not smoke any crack today.
Well, I don't even know if it's as much as what I'm saying is like telling yourself you're not going to smoke crack. Maybe reminding yourself that you are vulnerable and capable of doing that any day, any time.
Right.
And maybe by just making yourself
more, having it more of an aware thing versus I do, because I get into that where I'm like buying my own BS, right? Yeah. Like here I am.
So a little more humility might protect, might keep you from saying, all right, I'm good. I'm going to go do this.
Hopefully it does, because I do. It probably is a more humble position to be, which I want to be. You know, I have certain friends that you know I invite to be honest with me, you know, and one that in particular comes to mind. Like she tell me, like, dude, you're not humble. You need humility. We talked about a couple weeks ago, humility and gratitude. You know, my natural thing is ego and pride. So yeah, that's a thing. So that's where I'm at. So I want to tell you one story for sure that I was thinking. One thing I do, well, obviously not when I'm coming here on a crack binge, but when I'm coming here sober, the way I think and the way I deal with anxiety, I think, and is to plan everything. And I sort of like, my natural thing would be to come in here with a plan of what to say, what to talk about, and how to say it. And I was thinking about that yesterday. I actually drove. My mom lives in Arizona. I stayed with her for a month. Thank you, Mom. I love you. And as I was driving here thinking about doing this, my instinct was to plan it. But then the next thought was, don't plan it. Because the more I plan it, the more it could be like inauthentic. Mm-hmm. You know, like once I start planning it, it's like, well, why are you planning it? It's because I care what people think. And I want them to think of a certain thing versus, here's what happened. Think what you want, you know. I was like 2 days into smoking crack in Taunton, Massachusetts, knowing nobody, walking around, just you know. And I had like a couple $100 more coming in or available, and so I was refusing to stop. You know, I was living in a sober living house that I had just moved into. That was like, come back. We're not gonna kick you out. You know, like I'm refusing. I'm just going for it, and I'm sort of happy-go-lucky. You know, sort of like, I don't know, like in that there's a stage of it where it's like nothing matters. And I'm walking down the street. Actually, I was like standing, and all of a sudden, some beautiful young girl looks at me like, I know you. You're Patrick from YouTube, out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, that's me. Take my number. What are you doing? Like, hang out, you know. And I asked her, like, do you get high? Yeah, I have it. Come to my apartment. I was excited. Like in that state, imagine me in that state, like, and she wound up being a beautiful person, you know. Like it wasn't like a streetwalker type of thing at all. Like she had an apartment and everything. She just happened to get high, and she welcomed me, and I hung out with her and her friend for a couple days. Didn't have money. Was begging my dad to give me money the whole time, which is just embarrassing. But during that that binge, I tried fentanyl. And someone was doing it, and I know like that's, and
Very dangerous.
I get into that desperation, like who cares about life, and just so I didn't care. Like that, you might die from it for whatever reason. It's not like I have all kinds of opportunities to do fentanyl ever, but wanting to be a part of whatever was going on there, and she was doing it.
But crack and fentanyl get mixed up sometimes, and a lot of people.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I've never necessarily experienced that.
If somebody who's typically smokes crack gets some fentanyl mixed up, which happens a lot, you OD.
I OD'd.
Oh, you did?
I tried it, snorted like one little thing of it, and OD'd 10 minutes later.
Wow.
Dead. And she called the paramedics. I was revived by 6 shots of Narcan.
6?
Yeah. I guess, I don't know how that works. She had 1 there, and they gave me 5 more. And and I didn't know what was going on. The next thing I know, I'm coming back to consciousness, like laying on the floor, handcuffed like a wild animal, resisting all over the place. And finally, after they got me out of that, I sort of it hit me like, oh, you OD'd. You OD'd.
You actually chose to do fentanyl.
I did, yeah. I asked if I could try some.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That you would be even open to it.
Right. And so in that moment, I was, I didn't care, and I guess I wanted to be higher, wanted to feel it. I don't know what I wanted. I think it was more wanting to fit in.
But that's almost suicidal.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. Yeah, it wasn't like I hope I die from it, but it was like I didn't care. And I did say, like, give me a small amount.
No, but fentanyl is so dangerous that
that's the thing.
If you're open to trying it, you're
right. You're rolling the dice. And so that happened. I'm glad that I didn't die.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the situations like that, people don't necessarily even call, because maybe there's drugs involved or whatever.
Or you're alone.
If you're alone, that's the thing. I figure like when people OD on opiates, almost always they're alone, or multiple people both ODing, So that happened. So the whole thing was just super dramatic, and I wound up on a plane back here, like a few days after that, back to LA.
I'll ask a stupid question. Does that change the way that you think or operate or anything like that? It really doesn't, does it? Because I know there'll be comments saying, "Oh, that fentanyl scare."
Like a wake-up call?
There's a wake-up call. It doesn't work that
way.
The
only thing it will do, and I do believe this, is I won't do fentanyl again.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, unless I was literally trying to kill myself, but not for, like, the high of it, like, whatever, like, little high of it I experienced before I went unconscious was unpleasant and overwhelmingly strong.
Yeah.
So, like, there's no, that was a really good feeling. I wanted to try that feeling again.
But even your usual crack addiction, it's not that you, common sense, you're intelligent as anyone. Mm-hmm. Reason and common sense are not going to straighten you out.
No, right, exactly.
It's just not.
No.
You clearly understand that doing crack is bad for you, but you're not.
Right.
That's not going to get you to stop. There's going
nothing in the thinking. No.
There's going to be something, and that's why I was suggesting maybe a religious conversion or something, lobotomy, anything.
I'm open to that. Like, I've gone this month with that sort of like, let's do it again, but like wait until you can do it more successfully. I don't know, under more control, which might just
would a different environment where it's not available.
That might be that. I was reading that in the comments. That might,
or maybe a routine, like some new obsession, like whether it's exercise or golf or work or something.
I have those though, So
that's what keeps me straight.
Yeah, like I'm obsessed with golf for sure. Like I've hit golf balls literally every day for the last. I got golf clubs again. I guess it's only been 2 weeks, but
so you could hit golf balls for 6 hours and then go smoke.
I haven't missed a day. That's the thing, is that there's no obsession, and I do things obsessively. That's my nature.
Yeah, me too.
But none of those other things are have the power, the pull, like getting high.
Oh, is that right?
Right. So that's the thing of it, is that, so it's not like a replacement thing, you know. It's like I'll do these other healthy things obsessively, sort of by default, because I'm clean.
Yeah. See, this isn't about me, but the one thing that I've always done since I was a kid is try to never expose myself to things that might be more powerful than what I believe is healthy.
Right.
Like one relationship with one woman, or a job that I love, or a career that that's it. I don't need anything extra.
Right.
I don't need anything more, because more would be more stimulating and perhaps more addicting, or it would lead you down a path that's going to make the whole thing unravel.
Yeah. Like I feel like I've been doing lately the things people are supposed to do, you know? And I believe that it's possible that my thinking can change, you know? Like, just because in this moment I have some sort of like half-baked reservation or daydream about smoking crack in a couple of weeks or whenever, some future point, just because that's there today doesn't mean that has to be there always, you know? Meanwhile, I've been going to AA meetings every day. I've been writing, you know, every day, praying, like literally praying sort of regularly, increasingly, and about that, like praying about that thing, like the fact that I'm thinking this way, you know, seeing a therapist, doing extra sort of regular secular things that are on the healthy side. And if I'm honest, like, it is losing a little bit of power.
That's great.
It's losing a little bit of power, right? But it's there still, right? It's there still. It's like, they talk about it like in the Alcoholics Anonymous book about how important it is to know, like, they use this language, like, fully concede to our innermost self, you know, like we're alcoholic, we're addict, we cannot take a drug or a drink, even one, successfully. To like know that at the core of our being kind of is required in order to do the rest of the program, you know? Like, you won't do it the way it needs to be done unless you have this starting point of like, I just desperate. It's like a desperation position. And that if you don't have that, if you have this sort of idea, like, well, maybe if I can control it, maybe if I like set it up and told people and planned and waited until a certain, you know, then I could control it, which if I control it, that would be like, stop before 6 weeks or something, you know, you stop, like do it for like a couple days or whatever. And I've always in the past been at that other position of like realizing like, hey, I can't do it at all. And I feel like I don't have that right now. You know, like that, like I still have this, you know, probably delusion, right? So that's present, you know, and I don't want to hide that. But I don't feel like it needs to stay like that. We'll see.
Yeah,
you know,
no, I mean, I think something basic in your thinking might need to probably needs to shift.
Yeah.
Something like super basic, like on the most basic level needs to shift, so that maybe you'll see things differently, and you won't even. I don't know. It's such a complex thing.
Yeah, I don't know either. You know?
Yeah, our talks that you do with me are some of my favorites because we get deep into it.
Yeah, I think a lot. And I would rather talk about what it happens to me, you know. But it's easy for me to talk about my thinking. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the thinking is that's the center of this problem is my brain, and a lot of people recover, you know.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and I feel like I know a lot of them. Like I have access to them. I don't know. Like I feel like that's in the cards still. This has been a weird year, man. This has been a different year.
How old are you?
43.
43.
Yeah, I'm 43. Yeah, I've thought about writing a book. You know, like I was thinking about that while I was there.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, because I came in. We talked a few times, and it was sort of like I think there's like some shock value to it. So I'm like, hey, check it out, what I've been doing. And I just tell you the story of like that week or whatever.
Right.
But I feel like my life has I've had different like experiences throughout my entire life that are kind of embarrassing and shocking or whatever. Maybe not all negative, but mostly. And that people might want to read about that if I had the courage to really write it.
I think you do have a lot of courage.
Yeah. So, like I said, like I feel like some sort of a connection to this whole thing and a desire to do it, and it would be, like a dream, like best case scenario dream is like we document me getting it, and
I'd love to do that.
Because because you read books. It seems like there's books all over the place of like the guy that was a gang member on drugs 20 years ago, and he writes the book 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
But we have footage of it like while it was still happening.
Live.
Yeah. So wouldn't it be awesome, like for it to?
I'd love to see that.
And for God to get the credit, like because like really, what you guys have all heard about me, statistically speaking, I'm not going to get it. It would have to be miraculous. So let's watch that happen.
So your plans now are to go where?
I'm back. I'm back in the LA
LA?
area. Yeah, I'm gonna move into I need to find a place of sober living, most likely. So in the next days I'm gonna be looking at that.
Yeah.
Moving into one of those, continuing to do what I've been doing with AA and therapy.
Will you go back to work?
Yeah.
Good for you.
The plan is to go back to work in October. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. Blessed.
Like some Friday night at midnight, you are thinking of doing something.
Yeah.
Let's say that happens.
Yeah.
Weeks.
Well, you know what? I wanted to last night.
And what stopped you?
The commitments that I made to people this week, like this. Not this wasn't the number one. No offense, but
Yeah.
the golf tournament tomorrow.
Right.
I'm going and visiting like one of my best friends
No, those are great
reasons. Up the coast on Sunday.
No, but like in 2 weeks, you won't have those.
Yeah. So that's what it was last night. But it was still shaky. I got into a situation where there was an unexpected change of plans that was sort of out of my control, and I found myself sort of like open all of a sudden and alone. And so there was something there in that. On a Friday night at midnight in 2 weeks, I don't know. I think part of that might depend upon what I do before that. Where am I living? Who else is there? There's definitely something to the getting help from other people. Last night, I kind of went up and down, and then finally, because I was thinking, my brain danced with they would have been complete delusion to think that, okay, I'll do it tonight and then still come here tomorrow, and I'm going to play golf right now to practice at this course where we have this big tournament. We won, me and my best friend, we won this tournament last year. It's like Southern California wide. So like we're the defending champion. I'm the defending champion of a golf tournament, believe it or not. And we're going to try to defend our title tomorrow. And I would have just blew that off, if I did that. So
No, but after walking a straight line to get there and doing the tournament, and you got through today and you got through tomorrow. Yeah. Down the road,
it could happen.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that. I mean, what would eventually? I mean, it would apply the same. Calling somebody, like I managed to call people last night before getting high.
Yeah, you're welcome to call me.
Yeah, I have a ton of people.
You've done it before.
Yeah, and but it also is true, and this is kind of like where I don't fully believe in that, because it's already better before I make the call. You know what I mean? Like the deciding to make the call isn't like what stops it from happening. Deciding to make the call is the result of it's not going to happen.
Right.
It already like, okay, I got through it. It's not going to happen.
The humility thing that we talked about earlier, could that be effective, you think?
I hope.
Yeah, if if you had a timer on your phone, you did it every 3 hours throughout the day.
Just call people like.
No. Just remind yourself that you are.
Oh, that I'm vulnerable.
That you're vulnerable. That you're capable of.
Yeah,
Self-sabotage.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean.
I don't know.
I really don't know. That's an interesting concept. Again,
because you mentioned you have a tendency to start thinking that
Yeah, especially
you got it covered.
Yeah, I do, and I don't think that at all. So maybe there's something to that. Maybe I can just keep on staying clean today. Yeah, like I have no. No, there's nothing in me that thinks, I could do it for permanently.
Yeah, well, what I'm hearing
gone.
is like, so you had this little talk today, and you had time with your brother, and then you have a golf tournament tomorrow. Yeah. So you're walking a straight line, walking a straight line. You're doing great. You're doing great, and then you just can't do it anymore. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, I mean that's realistic.
I hope you get past it.
Yeah, right. Because at some point you got to get past that, because that's always going to be.
That's good.
That's really like just a different way of saying the whole thing. Like at some point,
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. But see, well, my mind, and again, we'll see if this is delusional or not, is thinking like, what if it happens, but it's just not super destructive? That's the sort of dangerous dance.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're more clear-headed and cogent than you've ever been today, at least as I've seen you.
That's true. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I'm probably more comfortable in my own skin than I've ever been.
Yeah, you seem it.
And thank you for that. Like this whole thing has been part of that. Probably going and being at Teen Challenge and being back in like a sort of deep level spiritual discipline thing at my sort of advanced age compared to before, maybe helped with that. Not caring so much what people think, being willing to be.
Yeah,
honest.
I mean, your story is going to be really interesting to get to the bottom of, because you're clearly so charming and intelligent and handsome, and you have all these great qualities, great sense of humor, all these things. But you're still going to, I'm hoping you never do, but you're still going to fuck it all up.
Yeah.
Again,
potentially.
Probably. Or I mean, you have in the past.
I hope not. I always have, right.
And it's like, so knowing that you have so much to lose isn't enough.
No.
And that's frustrating for me to watch.
And that's another thing. That's the lack of desperation. And I'm honest. I'm going to be honest about that.
The most horrifying thing you said in this whole talk is that you tried fentanyl. I heard that, and I'm like, oh, geez. Yeah. You're more serious than I thought.
I tried it. Yeah. That thing. So. Yeah, like I think one thing I wanted to say, I don't think I said it, is that I understand nothing. I really don't understand.
There's wisdom in that.
I think I spend way too much time thinking to understand so little as I do. Thinking and reading and writing, and
I think there's
I don't
genius or wisdom in knowing that you don't know.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna know.
Maybe not.
And that's maybe the humility that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's sort of like my summary statement of this year, I suppose. I don't know. But I do. I enjoy the feeling of being sober right now.
Yeah, you seem really happy.
I'd like to come down here to do what I plan on doing. I have some stuff to take care of this week. This is like my first sober moment in LA, really, kinda, since December.
Is being in LA difficult for you?
No, not so far. No, that might not be the right answer. I'm with my brother. It's I'm okay right now. The thing last night, I was out in Riverside when that happened, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
No, crack is everywhere.
Yeah.
You can go to North Dakota.
I have a car, my own car again, so I can, I mean, I'm a grown up. I can do, if I want to blow it off, I can. And it's going to come down to that. Like, that's ultimately this is, it's going to be me that either does it or doesn't do it anymore. Yeah.
I hope you never do.
Yeah, me too.
But you're welcome to come in here anytime.
I want to keep doing this. I don't know. I feel called to it, and I feel like if nothing else, let's let it be a research for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
like here I am, whatever.
No,
Like,
that's what my whole channel is. It's,
Yeah.
it's just so we can all
yeah,
learn and listen and understand a
Yeah.
little better.
yeah,
That's the only reason I'm doing it.
yeah. And if
And
anyone
you-
gets,
and
and if anyone
you've-
gets anything out of it, good. If you hate me, okay. Like, everyone's got something. Somebody told me something beautiful. She said, "We're all just walking each other home."
Oh, that's
You know?
great.
You know, and yeah.
I love that. All right, Patrick.
Mark, thanks.
Well, good
man.
luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Kick ass.
I'll let you know. Yeah.
And we'll do many more, hopefully.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks.